He probably doesn't want to borrow me.
What's your horse and a big personality?
Big personality.
Yeah, very big personality. Quite the diva. Dan, thanks for coming and visiting us at the Banyans.
Thank you for
It's good
having
to
me.
have you. And a couple of quick questions. So we went and visited the horses before. Have you ever ridden a horse?
I actually did, I reckon a baby back in year 5 camp. Rode horses with with my whole grade, and it was quite funny. Like, I was the only one that rode a white horse. They all had like a normal coloured horse. So ever since that day, I honestly haven't ridden a horse again.
And then you got to meet a cute little white horse this morning.
Yeah, very
really.
cute.
So are you more a dog person or a cat person?
I reckon definitely a dog.
What's your favourite TV show?
I like Nat Geo, I like documentaries and stuff. I like learning more about life and, like all the ins and outs of things. I definitely am more of a documentary kind of person.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month. And one of the things I have learnt a lot about in the last few years is just the importance of, I guess, talking about mental health and really normalising it. I mean, that's what we do here. We help people with their mental health, and you've been fairly open about your journey. So what have you found really helpful in terms of helping people just feel normal talking about mental health?
I think the biggest thing I always struggled with, obviously I walked down a pretty dark road, the biggest thing I struggled with was opening up. They'd put me in the group and they'd say, Dan, you're not opening up. Dan, you're not opening up, for weeks in a row, and I used to be like, I'm not letting them in. I'm not letting them in. Every week I would do it to them. And then this one week, the facilitator of the group said to me, he goes, who are you without swimming? And then I clicked, and then I didn't know who I was, I didn't know where I was going, I had no purpose. And I think then I started to realise how important it was for me to open up, and he started to ask me questions and bring the best out of me and draw it all out of me. So I was able to get healed, and my heart was able to get healthy and whole, so I was able to live a healthy life.
Was there ever sort of something in particular someone said to you that really helped you in terms of managing your anxiety or managing depression or anything like that?
Yeah, I think perspective's been a big thing for me. Like, I've gone through, obviously a pretty high level sport. I've been to Olympics and stuff, and I did go through stages where I would feel depressed and I would feel anxious, and that was because my heart and my hope was anchored in the wrong thing. I would always feel like if I wouldn't achieve or reach my goals, I'd feel like a failure and all that kind of stuff. And the biggest thing that changed my life was my chaplain said to me, he goes, what do you have to be grateful for? And I stopped and I thought, and in the moment I couldn't answer him, and I was like, I've trained my mind to think about the things that I don't have in my life. So what I did from that day, I put a gratitude list together, and every day for the last 5 months I spend 5 minutes every morning focusing on the things in my life that I have to be grateful for, the small things in my life that actually seem quite insignificant, but they're the things that I really have to be grateful for.
I love that because it's really practical and doable. So we were chatting before and you were talking about how long you spend training in the pool every day, but it's like your mental health training. It can be as simple as 5 minutes a day, thinking through things to be grateful for. I know some of the things I find really helpful in terms of self-care and, being mentally healthy, it's exactly the same thing. What am I grateful for? What are the good things that are going on at the moment? And depending on where we are, sometimes we need external support for that. But and it's so good that you've been disciplined with that, because as you said, it changes our perspective. So what do you think? So 39% of Australians are living with depression. So we're all experiencing mental health challenges and setbacks. You deal with a lot of people of influence. How do you think we can be kinder to people in the public eye when they are having some mental health concerns or challenges?
I think people people obviously living their lives out through others, so it puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on them. Where I think if we all just take a step back and realise that we're all people, we're all got different pasts, different pains, different hurts, all different problems, and I guess for me it would be more taking a step back and being like, hey, they're just people, I need to be kind to them, have a bit more grace on them.
And I think giving people permission to not be okay all the time actually gives ourselves permission to not be okay all the time. I don't know, the grace that you extend to other people is the grace that sometimes you can then extend to yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what would you encourage people, even if they're watching this and they're feeling anxious or depressed or something at the moment, what would you say to them?
I think definitely perspective's a big thing. I'd start to think about the good things you have in life, whether it's just your family or the little bit of finances you have, and start changing the way you think. It's quite easy to get, unfocused and start focusing on the things you don't have. I've done it, and I've had a lot of success as well, and it's been easy for me to fall down that path. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. It's also speaking to people you trust, people you look up to. That's been a big part of my life. Like I've been pretty grateful to come across people like you in my life that I'm able to open up to and talk to about things, and you're like, hey, this works for me, and then I go back and apply it to my life. So I think that's been a pretty big part of my journey as well. And I guess it's the small daily disciplines that change your life.
That's so good. So what I've just heard you say is it's about perspective, it's about people that you trust, and it's the practice of those daily disciplines. So I think that's a bit of genius, Dan.
Yeah.
So well, thank you for coming up and visiting us. We always love having you visit us.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure you get a delicious lunch
I'll
today.
look forward to it.